Hare Krishna. Okay, you can all hear me? Yes?
Yes, Raj.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, it's moving here to Govardhan has been great. But it took me till yesterday to actually have the internet set. Otherwise, I was borrowing someone's phone and the electricity went off, and we're in the midst of construction, and I started my kartik vrata. We walked, Radha Kunsign the other day, myself and David, who's here, and beginning our Nam vrata. And it's been hectic and blissful. So I'm just kind of being thrown into the class today. But I do wake up quite early and I did prepare a little bit. So let me just get what I prepared. It'll take me a second just to find out. Okay, so reading from the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, Volume 2, Chapter 2, One 19. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kadācit sanakādīṁś dhyāna-niṣṭhā-vaśaṁ gatān. Vindatas rūpāṇi dṛṣṭvāpnomi parāṁ mudam. Sometimes when Sanaka and his brothers were absorbed in meditation, they would assume these forms of the Lord. Seeing them, I would relish extreme pleasure. The Kumara brothers would often be so absorbed in meditating on a particular form of Lord Vishnu that their own bodies would take on the appearance of those forms of the Lord. This was the special quality of meditation on Tapaloka. It resembled the intense meditation of a small insect that is attacked and killed by a pashaskrit bee, and in the next life becomes a bee. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadāmayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So greetings from Govardhan. Govardhan Hill would be this way, about 4 or 5 minutes walk. And I'm teaching so many classes of Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta to different groups that sometimes I forget where we are. But I have an understanding here, a realization I had about Gop Kumar. Now, the most important thing to understand about Gop Kumar is that in spiritual life, the most important thing is our desire. And what is pure devotional service? Anya bilash ita. Anya bilash. Abhilash is desire. Anya bilash Chita shunyam, when you have no other desires. Remember that phrase, I think it's Hegel, quoted by Prabhupada's godbrother Sridhar Maharaj, where there is no circumference, the center is everywhere. There's this understanding that it's interesting. In terms of logic, God is that being of which no greater can be conceived. So we can't, if there's something that is superior to something, that something is not God. So if God in any way is confined to time and space, that which you think is God is not God. So logically, God is beyond time and space. But how can you conceive anything beyond time and space when for us, time I am the controller of all worlds and I've come to engage all people? For us, time is supreme. So that realm of the spiritual world, which sometimes is being described, is reasonably inconceivable to us based on our total experience of an existence that is ruled by time and space. So we see that that God, the distance between us and God, is simply our desire for that realm. It's not going to be a linear distance. It's simply going to be our trust and our faith that's going to bring us to that absolute reality. And whenever it's described, it's not going to conform. It may or may not conform to how we perceive time and space. But here, just to get a vision of where we are. So Gop Kumar, he's being carried, and this is the most important lesson, by his sambandha, his desire, his relationship with God. And he has a sense of that in terms of his mantra, because again, when mantra is given, this is mentioned in Bhakti Sandarbha, in terms of diksha, in terms of those Gayatri and those type of mantras, the Gopal mantra, you get a second initiation. It says, Divya Gyan, you get transcendental consciousness, transcendental knowledge. And if not fully manifest, at least the seed of that. And the seed of that is, again, it mentions Bhagavat Sarup Gyan, some kind of understanding of the form of God that you are connected to, and Sambandha Visesh Gyan, the relationship you have with that form. So Gop Kumar has that, and he has a sense of that, but he doesn't have so he has his mantra, he has his God, and he's actually searching for that externally. But he becomes satisfied when in each place that he goes, when he sees God, because it is a manifestation of maybe not a full manifestation, but it's a manifestation of the Lord of his mantra. And because he doesn't have knowledge, he has a sense that maybe this is it, but it never fully satisfies that desire. So anytime someone comes, on whatever planet he's on, and he sees that the people on that planet are worshiping that person, and he knows that there's something higher, then he goes there searching for the external manifestation of his mantra. So he was on Mahaloka, And when Mahaloka, then the four Kumaras came and everybody worshipped them. And then he wound up at Tapaloka, where these are the perfect tapasvis. How much power there is in austerity. Because the whole universe works on the principle that we will reciprocate with consciousness that is antithetical to what brought you here, which is icha dvesha samutena dvandva mohena bharata. Desire and hate, that world of duality. Vayam dvitiya biniveshita syat. That reality. Anything's antithetical. Therefore, it says in the Bhagavad Gita, Nayam lokos te yagyasya kutanya kurusatavata. Sacrifice, giving up that self-centered conception, which the sense that there's something higher than the authority of your personal authority, which is dictating that the goal of life is controlling and enjoying. And all institutions are meant to help you step out of that. And the world would reciprocate. Sahayagya prajo vacha paro vacha prajapati anena pasavishyadvam eshavo swishta kamaduk. God sends forth demigods and sacrifice, and by this you'll be satisfied. So you can imagine the powers of those who are the all-stars of tapasya. And there's a place for those people called Tapaloka. And the top renunciants are the four Kumaras. So when they come, they're so much respected on Mahaloka, where the rishis are there, who perform yajna and sacrifice and also have such qualification. Gopkumar sees that, he goes to Tapaloka. But he somehow wants to leave Tapaloka because everything there is internal. So there's no forms of the deity, there's no forms of God that manifest. And there's no much social interaction, except sometimes people come out of the meditation and they exchange conceptions of God's immanence. But he's a very attractive personality, Gopkumar. And there's something about purity and simplicity that's so spiritual. That's so spiritual that it attracts people. And Gopkumar is so attractive, and we know that also. How beautiful is a simple Vaishnav with simple faith, above the dictates of the mind and the senses, above the ego. Not fanaticism. There's an understanding there, a realization. It's simple faith. And Gopkumar, simple, beautiful person, where manorate dasati bhavato mati, that the chariot of the mind is not in that kind of calculation. Everywhere is, where do I find greater pleasure for me? And we get on the mental plane, either as devotees, even in simple decisions. Where is that greater pleasure for me? It doesn't exist. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavat akinchana savai gunas tasti samase harava bhaktasu kata mahogana Manorate dasa. Therefore, the devotee has all the good qualities of all the demigods, simply because he's not on the mental plane. There's none of this calculation based on acceptance and rejection, based on the false ego. So someone like that, who somehow, he may not be a scholar, he may not have all these material, powerful qualities, but he's accepted the simple love of God and the simple practices. Even we know that story of Lord Chaitanya and the Brahmin, of that person who's illiterate, but he's reading the Gita, and he's crying because he simply saw the picture on the cover, how the Lord has become the servant of his devotee, and how Lord Chaitanya so much appreciated him, although other people were laughing at him. So somehow or other, Gop Kumar represents this beauty of simplicity. And therefore, wherever he goes, whether it's the heavenly planets, whether it's Mahaloka, where the rishis are, or Tapaloka, somehow there's a combination that people are very attracted to him, and the pure souls on those planes are being dictated in their hearts to help him. Because that simplicity of devotion also captures God's heart. And he moves the devotee to perfection by the simplicity of his heart, by the dedication to his guru, by the dedication to his mantra. He's moved in that direction. And the universe moves to facilitate him. And the universe means also how the people are moving around a particular individual and what happens in their life. So somehow or other, these tapasvis, and it's going to come someplace, maybe it already came, that we read, that his dedication to his mantra, his faith in his mantra, maybe this will come up, or maybe we discussed it, because I'm teaching 3 different classes at different places of Gop Kumar, and I get confused where we are. But by his mantra, I think it'll come up. He's actually achieved a very high level of tapasya. He very much can be in a very meditative stance simply by his sambandha. Not his jnanic understanding, I should meditate, this is good, this is powerful, the process of jnana, but bhakti, his simple sambandha with the simple relationship he has with his mantra. So they try to tell him, don't leave. It's all the mind. Don't search for God externally. We have that in our philosophy. Srila Bhakti-siddhanta Saraswati said, don't try to see God. Act in a way that God wants to see you. Bhakti-siddhanta would stand at the back of the temple without his glasses, and he can't see without his glasses. They ask him why. You can't see God. He said, no, but God can see me. I'm coming to the temple as an offering of service to God. He becomes joyful when he sees his devotees coming to see him. So then they can't really, this basis, they see they're not fully convincing him. So then they're going to tell him, if you get deep into the mind, then God can appear externally due to that desire. The meditational process is so powerful that the Lord you see in your heart with your full meditation and concentration, you'll see that Lord everywhere. That Lord will appear externally. And this is what's happening to Gop Kumar now, because the 4 Kumaras, their meditation is so deep that they're actually assuming, and again, don't try to get me to put this into my experience in this world. They are manifesting forms of God. I don't know if it's just a soul's experience of their own body becomes a manifestation of God, and the soul is worshiping God in that way, or feeling the presence, or because we know in the deity form that it's material elements, but no, according to the devotion of the acharyas and devotees who established that deity, then God will manifest there and be fully accessible to those who come to that form in this right mood. I'm doing a class on the CC with some devotees, a few devotees that I know very deep, at least a core of them. And we're reading the 16th chapter of the CC, where Lord Chaitanya is talking about Mahaprasad verse after verse. How in the right mood, if you approach that bhoga that's been sanctified by offering to the deity, it will manifest an aroma, a taste, a texture that's 1,000,000 times greater than the ingredients itself, and verse after verse. And that fact that Krishnadas Kaviraj, who has to write this at an old age, in perfect rhyme, and then put it on some paper with some ink, and he's got one shot, and he makes 10 verses like that, one after another, millions of times, prasad, prasad. So there's this effect of devotion, of simplicity and devotion that makes God appear in such profound ways. And can you imagine the focus and devotion of the 4 Kumaras as they go into their heart in deep prayer? But this is the message to us. The message to us is that the intensity of our desire will carry us to perfection. It'll reveal to us our relationship to Krishna. It'll bring us to Goloka Vrindavan. The intensity of our desire. And what a challenge in the world when there are what are called logarithms, where your mind is charted on your computers and your phones. Look at the Maya. So Maya can show what is called your feed. Your desires on your feed just keep on coming to allure you into that conception of your material identity. And they keep on coming at you. Maya is so tricky, and at the same sense, to take out the thorn with the thorn. The world's become so, it's ideally, if I am a guru, whatever, servant of Prabhupada in this way and perform this service, I should be in a village with all of you. And you shouldn't have to work like dogs. And in the rainy season, we don't work at all for 4 months. And simple living and high thinking. But somehow Maya Sukhaya, illusory happiness. Modern technology has separated people all over the world. It's destroyed communities. We so much lack community. The simple beauty of living among people of common interest based on spiritual life. But somehow with this technology, I'm seeing, at least we use it. If we don't get caught in the other things, we use it in the Harikatha, like we're doing now. The Harikatha. So, here in today's verse, Gop Kumar he would get relish. And it's something like this. We have a relationship with Krishna. And within that relationship, there's many relationships. For example, within Madhurya Ras, there's friendship. There's parental feelings. There's feelings of servitude and appreciation. So, let's say Gop Kumar has a relationship. Even if he hasn't found the full fruition of his relationship, he will see an aspect of that relationship in different forms of God and be satisfied in that relationship until through his heart and by externally, something higher will be presented. $120. Tad rahita kalepi nisidami tadasaya itam chiradinam tatra sukhe neva vasam sada. Even when bereft of such encounters, I remain conscious of the Lord's personal form, and so I had no reason to lament. In this way, I lived there a long time, for the most part, happy. So this was a point that was made before, that when you have an experience with God, even if the object of that experience leaves, it can linger in the mind and give you satisfaction. Just like Lord Chaitanya, he got Mahaprasad and he couldn't believe the fragrance, the texture, the taste. And even it would go, he would still be meditating on that. So Gop Kumar, so again, there's a happiness and dissatisfaction. The happiness, I'm with my Lord, and now I'm not with my Lord, but it was such an experience, I can remember it. So for the most part, Sukhena Eva, Sukhena Eva Vasaṁ, always I resided there happy, Chittidanam for many, many days. And I would not lament. Purport, Gop Kumar says he resided on Tapaloka happiness, Sukhena. But he qualified this with the word Eva. Sometimes he was less than completely satisfied, as when he remembered Braj. I can only give my personal experience that I gave many times. I can be happy and go to a temple and see forms of God and read a book and be happy, the written word, but not completely. Because thinking of Govardhan here, just walking to Radhakund to establish my Kartik Vrata and trying to enter into Govardhan by the holy name and by the sadhu Sanga. Kadācit pushkaradvipe svabhaktan kripayekshitam prastito hamsam arudas tattvayatas chaturmukha. Once, four-headed Brahma came to Tapaloka, riding on his swan. He was on his way to Pushkar Dweep to grace his devotees with a visit. So Lord Brahma comes from Satyaloka. So again, the same thing happens. He's kind of satisfied there, seeing these forms of God that are manifest, but then it's still not exactly his highest ideal, but it is in a sense too, because it's manifesting so many aspects of that highest ideal of Madan Gopal. But then someone will come from a higher region And he'll understand that this is higher, and maybe the full manifestation of my satisfaction is there. Purport, in text 121 through 128, Gopkumar relates how he was convinced to go to Satyaloka. He tells how he first got an idea of the glories of Satyaloka by seeing in person that planet's ruler, Lord Brahma. On Pushkar Dweep, within the Bhu Mandala system, Lord Brahma is worshipped as a representative of the personality of Godhead. Gopakumar, who knew nothing about Lord Brahma's existence, simply describes what he physically saw. I may have to leave a little bit early today, but what's happening now is it's going to be described now why he's going to leave, because he's going to see Lord Brahma, and there's something very special here. Paramaishvarya sampana savridha sanakādīṁś sasam brahman panam yadbi pujito bhakti-namritai. The venerable personage endowed with supreme opulence was reverently worshipped by Sanaka and his brothers. Feeling humble, they bowed down to him in pure devotion. So this was Vridha. Vridha means old, but it says, no, this is not old. This is venerable. And Chatur Brahma, the four-headed Brahma, he does come with a gray beard. And Parama Aishvara, he's endowed with the supreme opulences. And the four Kumaras, pranam, they bow down to him. Pujita, and they worship him. In feeling humble due to pure devotion. So imagine this incredible personality, most venerable, comes. And he's not growing old, but he's the eldest, the most reliable of all authorities. Everything about him is superior. Ashabir vardayitvatān snehena graya murdasu kinchit samanu shisyasau tam dvipam vigatogama. He increased the good fortune of the Kumaras by his blessings and affectionately smelled their heads. Then after giving them good instructions, he quickly went off to the Dweep. He was on his way. So Gop Kumar, he mentions the conversation, but it looked very confidential. He didn't know what was said. And I'm paraphrasing. The commentary said he understood it must be some intimate aspects of devotional service. And also the instructions were, it's described, anushisha, again and again he's repeating them, so it must have been very, very confidential. And who is this that appears to be even like a guru to the four Kumaras? So tattvam britam samprishta maya vocham vahasyate atagatya dunam piman Gopa Balika Vestina. When I asked the Kumars to explain who he was, they laughed and said, "Dear cowherd boy, even after reaching this planet, you still don't know who this person is?" So again, look at Gop Kumar, the simplicity of him. Of course, without that education, he's moving forward, and sometimes he makes mistakes. But the core of that simple devotion is carrying him. And the Kumaras are laughing at him. A simple cowherd. He's so long he's on top of Loka. And still he doesn't know about Lord Brahma. And they explained to him, Prajapati Patir Brahma Shrasta Vishvasya na Pita Swayambhu Paramesaisha Jagatpat Yanushastyapi. That was Brahma, the Lord of all lords of the living beings. He is our Father, the creator of the universe, self-born. He sits on the highest seat of authority. He maintains and guides the created world. So who is he? Prajapati. He's the Lord of all lords of the living beings. And he is the Pita, our Father, Shrasta, the creator, Vishvasya, of the universe, Swayambhu, he is our Father, but he is self-born, and Paramasti, he has the highest seat of authority, and Jagatpati, he maintains and guides the universe. So this was his position. His planet is called Satyaloka, stands above all others. It is achieved by persons who have done their prescribed duties purely for 100 lifetimes. Sata Janma, 100 lifetimes. Kritai, they did. Shuddha Swadharma, pure duties done purely for 100 lifetimes. How much benefit we would get if we did it for 10 days, our duties perfectly, but for 100 lifetimes. And he's hearing this, who is this person? Maybe this is the object of my mantra, is Madan Gopal. This is maybe how he manifests. And within Satyaloka is a Vaikuntha planet where the 1,000-headed divine Lord of the universe is always present as Mahapurush. So there's an enclave of Vaikuntha, the spiritual world, in the material world, on the planet of Satyaloka, where the Mahapurush, I guess Karanadakshay Vishnu, and so Gop Kumar, he thinks this is where I can fulfill my desires. And although said to be the son of Mahapurush, Brahma is not different from him. In our opinion, the one absolute truth assumes both those forms as pastimes. So he's the highest authority. He lives on the same planet as the Supreme Lord. But it says Eva like because he's the son. He's not actually the father, but he's the firstborn. So then Gop Kumar says, I want to go, and he chants his mantra and he focuses on samadhi. And the mantra and his desires, he reaches Brahmaloka. And he sees Lord Brahma, he sees that universe. Okay, we end a little bit earlier today. Jamuna Jaya, anything today?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for your class. Yeah, I really loved how you began and then you circled around with this thing about desire. That it's through our desire, if we have the right desire, it's through there we can become perfect. And it's all about look what Gopal Kumar. What is his desire? So beautiful.
We have to protect that desire. You know, there's so many other desires that we water. This material world is pushing so many other desires. We have to get the association of devotees. We have to hear Krishna-katha. We have to see the form of the Lord. We have to serve the devotees. You know, we have to nourish that desire. So that's why the Bhakti Center, that's its mission, to give people that desire. What a responsibility. Gail, Haribo.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Yes, so many things today. Well, what you were just now saying with Jamuna Jaya reminded me of that, what you said sometime before. You said we are protected by our intentions. I loved that line. one question I had was when you were speaking about um, our experience of the limitations of time and space, right?
Yeah.
And then I didn't follow when you said, therefore, we need faith to experience Krishna, who is in a realm that is not limited by time and space, right? So, yeah,
I can't understand what I said either unless I get it word for word, but let me try to figure out something. Yeah, we can't understand that realm, but by faith and experience of God as He manifests in this world, we can go to that level and have an understanding, especially hearing with faith from the Shastra.
yeah, we
I'm
can.
not sure, Kel, what I exactly said.
Well, I guess we can bridge that gap between where we are now and Krishna's world by having faith, I guess.
By having faith, and faith is trust by experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because God appears in this world in different ways, it gives us access to Himself in different ways. Through His books, through His devotees, through His Dham,
Mm-hmm.
through His name. So we get those experiences and we trust, then somehow that carries us there.
Okay, when you were talking about Lord Chaitanya experiencing the prasadam in a way that was greater than the
Just the elements. In
just
other words,
greater
just
than the
that
ingredients.
you mix together the elements, you make certain taste. But Lord Chaitanya, it's amazing. The 16th chapter at the end, it's amazing what he says. He said, the experience of the aroma and the taste becomes a million times greater than what ordinarily they would be, because
Because
it's mixed with the saliva of God.
uh-huh.
So you're actually tasting Krishna's lips or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Krishna's saliva gets mixed with it, and it's an experience.
Uh-huh. Yeah, just one other thing, Maharaj, was, with Gopa Kumar, the four Kumaras, I think it was the four Kumaras on Tapaloka, they weren't like able to convince him of that just by meditating on his
They try
Ishtadev.
to convince them that, first of all, they try to convince them reality is in the mind, so you don't have to go anyplace. Then they proved it by manifesting the deities externally just by their meditation in the mind.
Yes. But
That's
then
what
they
happened.
weren't able to convince him thoroughly of something.
Well, they did convince him, and he was so happy with seeing them manifest these forms that he lived there very happily. Almost happily, because he had a little separation from that sense of Braja or Vrindavan in his heart. And then when Lord Brahma came and they were all worshiping Lord Brahma, then he said, well, there's something better that may fulfill this desire in my heart. And let me go. It's so impressive.
Uh-huh. And they weren't, they expressed surprise that they didn't, that Gopakumar didn't know who Lord Brahma was. But that seems like it was just an excuse to glorify Lord Brahma because, I mean, he was on Tapaloka, not Satyaloka. So why should he have known about Lord Brahma?
Because Lord Brahma it was practically the guru of all these people. And how can he not know it? Everybody in Tapaloka knew about Lord Brahma. So how can he not know? He's the creator of the universe, the secondary creator of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And they're so shocked that he's just a simple coward boy. He doesn't know who it is.
Yeah.
I remember one time I gave a class, I forget, some new people, and I mentioned Bob Dylan. They didn't know who it was.
Mm-hmm.
How
Yeah.
can you not know? What?
Yeah.
How can you not know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And his and
Just like Gail, people never heard of Lou Gehrig, right?
uh-huh.
Okay. That was
Gopakumar's
Jayanta's offering to me. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, Gopakumar's Ishtadev is Madan Gopal, no?
Yes, a coward boy. Krishna as a coward boy.
Yeah, yeah, but specifically that.
God as a coward boy.
Yes, yes.
And his guru said something about, here's the mantra, you'll attain, love of Godhead. You'll attain the Supreme Lord. So he's thinking, something that this is the Supreme Lord, but what's his full manifestation? Where I'll find that, something like that.
So, and what was fueling Gopakumar's journey was somehow he was experiencing some kind of relationship with Madan Gopal.
Yes, through the mantra.
Yeah, through the mantra. It wasn't through, being educated in some kind of academic way like we are now.
Not at all. It was through the mantra that he got.
Yeah, and we don't have an explanation for why he was having that experience, right? Because we've been chanting, and we don't, some of us don't have that.
Yes, but one thing, people are at different levels of spiritual evolution. Some people, by their past life, they will awaken their eternal relationship with Krishna. And I've seen this in a few devotees that really know their relationship with Krishna. And others, it'll take this life for them to get that kind of feeling. Then in their next life, it'll come very quickly. That's really what happens. Some devotees, immediately they'll understand, this is my relationship with Krishna, and they'll have that greed. Others will practice, and we'll develop it. And then the next life, maybe we'll have that type of greed. Something like that. It's mentioned in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Okay, thanks, Gail.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Okay, a few people like to say hello before I go today.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Krishna-katha. Thank you so much for your wonderful class. Thank you greatly. It's great.
I know. Hemalata Radha, where are you?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I am at the MBT in Vrindavan. Today was Madhava's Kirtan at 4, so I was here until your class.
Wow, huh?
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, it's amazing. What was your journey? Was 48 hours?
It was a little less, but yeah, like 30 something.
But you feel refreshed?
I'm in Vrindavan, Maharaj.
I can
I
see.
feel really happy.
Have you seen Leela yet? And Jamuna, Yogamaya, and
I've seen Jagan Nivas. I saw also Yogamaya.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Okay.
And I saw David today, by chance.
Who?
David.
Oh yeah. Well, David is everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for class, Maharaj.
Enjoy. Okay. Anybody else want to say hello?
Hare Krishna Gurudev. Thanks for the class.
Where are you guys going?
We're going to Orlando Airport. My mom has sent us the carpets, Persian carpets. We're fetching those.
I didn't understand you. Say that clearly and slowly. What?
I said that we're going to Orlando Airport. My mom has sent us the Persian carpets. We're fetching those.
Your mother has sent you Persian carpets?
Yes.
Are you to sell Persian carpets?
No, we're going to use it in our house.
But maybe we should sell it.
Oh no.
I shouldn't have put that in his ear. Okay. I thought maybe, okay. Nice, huh? Wow.
Thank you for the class.
Thanks for the class, Maharaj.
Thank you for listening. It was great to see you at both of you at my vyasa-puja. That was so nice.
Yeah, it was amazing, Maharaj.
Right, okay. Anybody else say hello? Okay, I'll quickly look at the list of all the people that are coming to my class and
Hare
express.
Krishna, Gurudev. Thank you very much for the class. This is Yavat
Oh,
Sundari.
okay, you're the giver of Persian carpets. Okay,
Yeah, I bought some for them, Maharaj, for their house. Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
And I came back to Kish Island. The internet is really bad here, Maharaj.
okay, but
I
you have the
cannot
ocean,
be.
right? And it's very
Yeah.
beautiful, as
Yes.
opposed to Tehran, which is kind of hellish in many ways, right? There, it's like a very beautiful, your garden and your flowers and the ocean, right?
Everything is beautiful, Maharaj, but I'm getting worried if I cannot get to their online on their wedding because the internet is really bad here.
Well, I think for the wedding, you're gonna have to fly back to Tehran.
Really?
What?
I think, yeah,
Maybe.
maybe. I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Others may be in too much anxiety.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much, Maharaj. Thank you for your support. Hare
Oh,
Krishna.
Aibo. Okay, I'm gonna head out now. Thank you all. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyas.